What if I told you that there's a simple resume trick that makes hiring managers take notice? If you've sent countless of resumes and still can't land a job, don't worry, you're not alone. Chances are, it's not that you're underqualified, but your resume may need to be changed. You see, I used to be a broke student migrant, earning $17,000 a year. Now, I make multi-six-figure income as an asset manager. On this channel, I share the exact lessons I learned so you can succeed too. Alright, now this is my resume back then.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
As you can see, it's a lot more older. The reason why is because I still have hair back then. Now, before you talk about my bald head, I just want you to know that my hairstyle is by choice. My hair just chose not to grow anymore. So, you know. Anyways, if your resume looks anything like this, chances are you've already wasted a lot of opportunities when you submitted this type of resume. The reason why is because in every country out there in the world, there's a generally acceptable resume format that companies look for. Now, here in Australia, there's strict anti-bias laws that prohibits companies to hire people based on their sex, race, or age. But let's be honest here. The main purpose of the hiring manager is to be so judgmental so that they can actually sift through all the candidates and to make sure that they don't put in employees that they don't want to work in the company. So the law's a bit weird. Anyways, so in Australia, you need to make sure that you take out all your personal information like this profile picture that I have. Even though this is a good picture because I still have hair, I have to take it out. Now, on the bottom, as you can see here on the personal information, I have my date of birth. Now, you need to make sure that you don't give away your age because the truth is, in every single role out there, there's a hidden age requirement. Like for example, if you're going to hire someone who's going to do a lot more labor-intensive jobs, you're most likely going to pick people that are of a younger age. The reason why? They're not going to be more prone to injuries. And I know, they shouldn't be judging you. However, don't hate me. What do they say again? Don't hate the player, hate the game. It is what it is, guys. And I'm here to be honest with you and tell you what I've seen all throughout my career. Now, the next one would be gender. I don't care whatever gender you have, you just need to make sure to take it out because that's unnecessary. Although, for some reason, some companies ask you if you're a male, female, or non-binary. But don't put it on your resume. Now, marital status. You can see here that I put in single, but single or married, you shouldn't actually put in that personal information right there because you don't need to. Citizenship is Filipino. It's quite weird that I have to put in my citizenship because when I had this resume, I was actually applying in the Philippines. So where would I be from, you know? Place of birth, take that out, and it's similar to citizenship. Now, your height. For some reason, in the Philippines, we are very superficial, which is why I had to put my height in because I probably got it from another template. And the fact that I'm actually 6 feet, so I'm quite tall for an Asian. And that's always handy. Now, going down, you're gonna look at the educational background. The first thing that you need to make sure of is that if you're going to put your educational background, you need to make sure that you take out the year that you graduated, because that's going to be a line item where they can analyze your age. And like I said earlier, you need to make sure that they're guessing your age. A story for this is when I landed my first corporate job, I was actually the youngest person in there. I was 26 at the time, and the next oldest person is 5 years ahead from me. They pretty much just assumed that I was 30 years old, probably because I look old. I don't actually know if I should take that as a compliment. Anyways, now as you can see on my resume, I have preparatory, elementary, and high school. You shouldn't have to put that in. However, the reason why I probably put that in back then is because I still don't have any work experience. Well, I do, but I only have a few, which means I wanted to put in a lot of stuff in there so that I can have a 2-page resume. However, it's actually better if you get a 1-page resume and only put in the details that are really necessary. Work experience. Now, as you can see here on my work experience, it's definitely not aligned. So you need to make sure that when you're creating a template, everything is succinct and aligned. Now, your description in the role needs to be consistent with regards to how you format your template. Now, have a look here on what I put in on my description. I mainly put in the tasks and responsibilities that I did on the role. It's okay. However, I'll show you later on how you can actually improve it. And let's say you had some rewards and recognition in your work experience. This is actually the space that you can put that in instead of putting in a separate section for awards and recognition. Now that I've actually looked at my old resume, I'm just so grateful that somebody even hired me, because the truth is, if I submitted this resume to some of my previous bosses, I'm 100% sure that they would have just looked at it and put it straight in the bin. Like I said, I don't make the rules. This is just what happens. As you can see here, I'm a math top member on my high school. That's just a basic Asian thing to do. However, you don't necessarily need to put that in. So we're gonna have to take that out. And then for the employee of the month section, you can incorporate that on your description, like I said. Now, with regards to personal awards and recognitions, you can actually put that in your personal profile instead of creating a section like this. However, the only thing that I'm going to make sure that you understand is you don't necessarily need to put in those kinds of things unless it's somewhat similar to a recognition for charitable works. So, speaking of personal profile, we're gonna go to my personal profile. Now, this is going to be really embarrassing for me because the grammar here is incorrect. Let me read that through to you. Through my training and work experience, I have learned general restaurant operations and cocktail service as well. I enjoy serving and helping people for their needs as well. So when you're writing down your resume, you need to make sure that it's all grammatically correct and your grammar is seamless. So this part is really embarrassing for me. However, I don't really care. The reason why is my main goal here is to help you and to let you know that you can improve your resume like I did. Now, let's go fast forward to my new resume. This is actually the same resume that I used to land all the job roles that I have, including my first management job and my corporate job in a head office setting. Now, as you can see here, I have my executive summary. Now, the executive summary should outline pretty much everything that they need to expect from the entire resume. You need to make sure that it's brief and concise. What I've put in here is in-depth experience in hospitality and customer service with a focus on price management, statistical data analysis, strategy development, and change management. So those are pretty much buzzwords that I've put in, but I actually do those things. So it works well for me. Develop policies and standard operating procedures for fast-paced dynamic ASX-listed company, which improved efficiency and productivity, reduce costs, and increase revenue. So those are the things that I've done on a company that I currently am working for. Personal profile, that's where you put in all the things that they need to know about yourself. This is where you put in your skills and pretty much your personality. Now, as you can see here on the bottom, I changed it from educational background to qualifications. The reason why is this section is where you're going to put in your trainings, your graduate certificates, and your bachelor's degree, master's, or PhD. The reason why I have to change it is because here in Australia, there's certain jobs where you don't necessarily need to have a degree. You just need some sort of qualifications. And as you can see right here, there's no age identifiers, which is the year that I graduated from master's, from bachelor's degree, none of that. Now, relevant experiences. I mentioned earlier that we're going to make it look better. So the main example that I can give you is the group revenue manager. Now, the way you do this is you need to make sure that you put in whatever things that you've done in the role, not just the tasks. What are the achievements that you've done for the company within the role? So let me read it through for you. Consolidated the property management system of 14 properties. Implemented strategies that help navigate Company A, not the real name, Company A's tourism properties through bushfire and COVID. improved FY21 RevPAR by $6.08 compared to FY19, which is a relatively normal year. Created standard operating procedures that assisted with onboarding process of new staff, acted as a relief manager for all our portfolio. Now, as you can see here, there's a bit of a jargon that's written on my resume. If you're going to apply for a specific role or industry that knows the jargons that you're going to use, jargons are similar to slangs that are acceptable within the industry or abbreviations or terminologies. Now, RevPAR in the hotel industry means revenue per available room. FY21 means fiscal year 21. In Australia, they don't use calendar year. Calendar year is from January 1 to December 31. However, fiscal year is from July 1 up until to June 30. Now, don't ask me why, because I don't know. Anyways, now, can you use this format if all you have is entry-level jobs? The short answer is yes. Going down here, as you can see here on the night auditor position, which is a job that I got before I applied for my first management role, perform the day-to-day tasks of a night auditor. I didn't have to specify what tasks there is for a night auditor because it's generally known within the industry. Now, the important part here is performed fire safety emergency plan and assisted all guests during an incident. Was cross-trained in all departments and performed as a relief all-rounder on the hotels. That means that I can easily adapt to any kinds of role. I can learn quick and easy. Under here on my front office butler position, I achieved 2 consecutive Employee of the Month for the front office department and 2 consecutive Employee of the Month finalists for all departments of the hotel. Yes, I may have jokes, however, I'm a very hardworking guy. Generated 30% of the entire walk-in and upsell revenue for the year. This indicates that I know a thing or two on sales, which is really important on management because the main thing that you need to do for a company is to make them money. Enrolled in management training, which involved tasks such as shift coordinator and training of interns. Now, just because you're on entry level doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have certain jobs or skills that managers have. If you can demonstrate on your resume that you possess these certain traits and skills, then most of the times we would be willing to take a chance on you even though you don't have any management experience. Now, the key is to make sure that you ace your interview. I actually have a video on how to do your interview, which I'll add the link down below and after this entire video. Now, we're going down to references. I heard it from someone and they said that you don't necessarily need to put your reference here in Australia. I completely disagreed because the truth is, if you put your references on your resume, it shows that you don't have something to hide. The second thing is, once you put your references, sometimes what we actually do is search for this person that's in your reference on LinkedIn or any kind of social media platform. And I have a story for you guys. One of my classmates, when I was taking masters, tried to apply for a manager role in a bar and he used his mate as his reference. He didn't get the job. The reason why is he doesn't know this, but people actually search for the people that you put in for your reference. Now, what I put in for my reference is Mr. Pepe Onzuma. As you can see here, the title that he has is Group Operations Manager, and the more higher the position of your reference, the more credibility it holds here. Which is why try to get your supervisors, your managers, or if you're lucky enough, the bosses, which is the CEOs or the owners of the company that you used to work for. And I think that's it. Now, if you've learned something in this video, please like and subscribe so that we can keep on creating videos like this to help other people. I'll see you on the next time.